we'll just do this. You've got quite a few of these to do today.
I think so. I didn't notice so much.
I'll try and be gentle with you.
Look at hers. Yeah.
Just see when you're right, we'll just go.
If you're happy to do that.
Wait a minute till I've had some tea.
Absolutely, yeah. No rush.
Just trying to switch my phone up and I don't actually know how to do it. It's a new phone.
What's that?
My phone, how do you switch?
Oh,
It's just stupid Siri going, what can I help you with? What can I help you with?
I know, I just think they're putting my...
I'm not sure I understand.
I'm so sorry. You're going to be out here.
No, it's, so, see in settings, see even aeroplane modes, and then you don't have to put it
That's
off.
what I'll do.
Yeah.
How can I not know how to switch it? It used to be easy.
That's the
Thank you.
really fancy one of the three cameras and
I know. And it took me ages to figure out how to even get into it. I was like, where's the button?
I
The
know.
home button's gone. That just confuses everybody.
Yes.
It doesn't feel as comfortable as it used to.
I feel like that with every new, I tried and resisted, mine was so old, like it was lasting an hour a day with the battery, and I was like, I had to make the change, but now I'm like,
I kind of feel like they do that on purpose, that the battery runs out really
They
quickly.
did. They just admitted to that.
They
They've
did.
admitted to doing that. Yeah, the new software comes out, slows down the battery, so you go and buy a new one.
bastards. But it's also quite good to know because I knew they were doing that, like I could feel it for them to admit it.
It's always as it's coming up to your contract.
Every single time.
Yes. Yeah.
We may as well.
Well, if you could both tell me what you had for breakfast, and I'll...
Well, one of us had a full breakfast today, and I don't think it was me. So I had a cup of tea.
2 fried eggs over easy, bacon and black pudding.
Oh, it worked.
Lovely. That looks good to me, so whenever you're ready.
And Billy, thank you for doing this. Welcome back to the afternoon show. You feel quite at home in an art gallery, don't you?
Yeah, it's been going that way. It's completely new to me. Since the last time I've felt pretty much at home though. It's good.
We're sitting here in Glasgow and sort of thinking back to your sort of government days and working in the shipyards. Was there a sort of artistic bent to you then at all?
Absolutely not. And that was considered very effeminate. Strange way to behave. It came upon me all of a sudden. A change of life kind of thing. It was great. I'm really grateful for it.
Do you remember the moment?
Yeah. It was in Quebec, in Montreal. It was a freezing day, and when I went for a walk, and in Quebec they have this freezing rain. They said it looks like rain, but when it hits you it turns to ice. And it was hellish, so I made my way back to the hotel instead of going for a walk. There was 2 shops opposite, a pet store and an art shop. I went to the pet store, it didn't last long. I come out and into the art store, and I bought a sketchbook and some felt tips, just to keep me from watching the telly. And I started to doodle about. I drew islands, strange little islands, and they were kind of an abstract thing. And I got home, because I could never draw. And I got home and I said to my wife, can I look at these? No, I know they're crap, but tell me if they're getting better as they go along, as far as you're concerned. And she said, they definitely are. So I just stuck to it.
I get the feeling that approval from your wife is clearly very important.
Oh yeah, it's very important. She figures it as important in my life a lot. When I was going on stage, I used to tell her stuff. Say, look, I was going to say this, what do you think? And she'd say, well, that's very funny. I said, but you're not laughing. She would say, it's very funny. And it was kind of disheartening. But she was just using her analytical senses. She's good, she's very good that way.
A grounding element.
Oh yeah. And she's very, when I say to her, if I draw something and I say, what do you think of this? I always trust what she says. She's never negative. She always said, oh, I like that, that's good, it's weird.
And how's the art, how's the drawing helped you with your Parkinson's?
It hasn't helped me at all. It's, it just goes along with it. I don't weigh up things whether they get along with my Parkinson's or not. It just trundles along merrily beside everything that I'm doing. I don't shake on the right side, so I can draw. It started a wee bit, you can see it in some of the drawings, but it's getting along just fine.
Because you rely heavily on straight lines a lot as well.
That's
so-
right, with that cross line thing I do, you'll see the spaces are getting bigger now.
Well, here we are in Art Gallery, surrounded by some of your work here. How do you feel? You know, Billy, you sitting here in Glasgow, and here we are in an art gallery, surrounded by, you know, your work.
It's the most peculiar thing. It's like family photographs. It's the strangest thing. I don't look on them as drawings. They're moments. It's lovely. It's very comfortable.
I was looking at the drawings and the illustrations on the way through on the train, and one thing that struck me, and I think it will perhaps give you an advantage over many other artists, is that when people come to see your stuff, they'll kind of hear your voice, they'll hear your laugh, they'll know your personality, perhaps more than any other artist. So I think that gives it another dimension when they come and see it.
You reckon?
I think so.
Well, that's kind of avoids me.
Cuts you out of the equation.
Yeah. I like it. I like that one over there. First
Position.
position.
The first position, yeah.
People think that's Trump, and it isn't. I haven't been accused of drawing Donald Trump.
And I noticed you quite enjoy drawing the big feet.
I love feet, and I don't think the feet and hands have got anything relation to the rest of the body. I like doing big feet and big hands, and it doesn't make any sense. I just like it.
I've watched you over the years, and you know the way that you wonderfully tell your stories, and you go off on tangents, and you come back to your main thread, and you go off on tangents. Is that similar when you sit down with a blank piece of paper in front of you?
Well, I've always had a weird argument with that going off at tangents. I think what I do is what everybody does when they're talking. If you listen to conversations, people don't start a conversation and do A, B, C, D and then finish it. They wander off into all sorts of directions. And I just took it on stage. There's only people on stage who don't wander off. You know, the people in plays, they settle problems the way normal people don't. And it's kind of weird. But the drawing is the fun of it. I don't understand a lot of it. I don't understand what it means because it doesn't really mean anything. They're just pictures.
Do you have a clear idea in your head what you're going to do when you sit down, or does it?
No, it comes along. I usually start with the feet. Not always, but usually. And I don't even know if it's going to be male or female till I get above the knees. And then I start making up my mind.
One of the centerpieces of this this piece, the display that's on, is and God on a Monday, God made the world.
Yeah.
This has gone from the canvas, if you like, on from the paper onto sculpture. Tell us about this. It's absolutely magnificent.
Well, that was the gallery's idea. It was nothing to do with me. And then they came to me with the idea, and I thought, oh, geez, but you better just make one. Nobody will want them. And so I think we sold 19 in London. And they're dear. They're really expensive. Made of stainless steel. And the sculptor has added a bit of the world, because my world was only half in the drawing. He's completed the world as he needed to, of course, because it's 3D. But he has used my line technique, which was really a pleasure to see.
You have God here being portrayed as a welder, so this takes you right back again full circle.
Absolutely, a welder as God. At Langer, a lot of people on the Clyde. It's lovely. They always saw us as thinking ourselves as gods.
We've watched you over the years, and this is a common thread. The one thing that you do keep going back to is your time as a welder. Now, you know here we are in this stage of your career in life, and it's now a relatively small part of your life, but yet so very important.
It's immensely important, and it always was. It was a moment when I left school and sort of became a man. There were some people, it would be like national service. When I was younger, people would go into the army for 18 months, 2 years, and they would become men. Well, I did it on the Clyde, going from an apprentice to a journeyman. And it was great growing up, growing away from your home and becoming something else. It was incredibly important to me, and still is.
And another piece of your art, which is on display here, is Glasgow, which has just been unveiled, and it's just kind of beautifully summed up. Tell us about that.
Oh, is that the tree?
Yeah.
I took that, I drew a tree, and I thought, what am I going to do with this? And then I thought, oh, the tree that never grew, and the bird that never flew, and the bell that never rang, and the bird that never sang. I thought, I think I'll do that. So I added wee birdies and some, but I put the fish hanging from the tree. It's not being buried by the tree. I forgot. I just did it hanging. And it's lovely. I'm really fond of it. I hope it doesn't offend people.
I'm sure it won't. And a lot of your work is
But part of me hopes it doesn't.
That's it.
It offends certain people.
A lot of your work is available, as you mentioned, with regards to the sculpture, available for people to buy, so they can actually have a bit of Billy Connolly at home with them now. Does that mean anything to you, or is that important that people can have a bit of you to
It's
keep?
never crossed my mind. I just am delighted that people would like to have a bit, whether they buy a wee drawing or I'm always amazed that they would like to have it. The whole thing amazes me because it wasn't my idea to come into galleries and things like that. I just drew, and after that tour in Canada, I would draw and send them to my manager and say, what do you think of this? He would say, great, carry on, you never know where it's going to end up. But he was collecting them and took them to the gallery, unknown to me. And they said they liked it and would like to do an exhibition, and it's never really stopped.
So if it hadn't been for that rainy day in Montreal, do you think you would have ever picked up a pen and a
No.
sketch pen?
I would never have picked up a pen and done that. I don't recall ever sitting down with a pen and doing drawing. Maybe doodled in the side of a bit of paper, but nothing that other people don't do all the time.
There's been a lot made of, certainly the last few days, when you gave an interview last week and you said obviously you're no longer going to be doing any stand-up. I have to take this opportunity to talk about a piece of your work which has stuck with me and resonates with a lot of people of my generation, I think, which was that TV special you did, An Audience With,
Oh yeah.
back in the day. And that changed my outlook on comedy, that changed the way I laughed, that changed who made me laugh.
Really?
Absolutely. And I think I speak for a lot of people when I say that, because there's so many of us that can almost quote, in the way that we can quote our famous albums, we can quote some of those routines that you did that night. What do you remember of that night? Because it was a sea of faces, and I remember you did a piece of it where you said you were so nervous because there was all these famous faces out there. What do you remember of that
It's
evening?
very weird. I was really nervous because I was on tour at the time. I had come from a concert to that show, and I did 2 hours in my concert, and I thought, I've got nothing to say that isn't in my show, and I didn't want to give the show away. So I had to dig up to things from the past and really search my memory and my mind as I was on stage, and it worked perfectly. Because the digging it up from the past was a thing I never did with my material before. Because I've never written it down. You have to remember it. And so in remembering it, you change it to trying to remember it. And it got, I remember feeling how well it was going. I thought, God, this is great. And big Robbie Coltrane sitting in the middle of my face, you know, and looking out, that he was the centre of my view. He's a big bugger. And he was laughing and sweating, his big shiny face. He'll never know how much of a boon he was to me that night. It was great.
And the thing is, I don't think anyone could ever listen to Saddle Up and Ride Your Pony and see me again.
Yeah, I remember it. That was the incontinence.
Yes, it was. And also,
Princess Anne spoke to me about that once. She said, how can you sing and do 2 kinds of dancing at the same time? I don't know.
there's so many bits. It's, you know, I remember so well searching for a party with a carrier, going back to these.
Oh, yeah.
And the way that people sang at parties, and the way that the Highland singers winked at you when they were singing to you on the telly.
That was Alistair Gillis.
Billy, it's this is a box ticked in my entire.
Thanks very much.
It's been an absolute pleasure to join. I just want to say on behalf of everybody who grew up watching you, thank you so much for all.
I hope you have some information.
And we've got plenty to look at and enjoy from you.
Oh, thank you very much. It's a real pleasure. Is that okay?
Oh,
That was
thank you.
wonderful.
That was so
That was
good.
lovely.
That
Thank
was
you.
wonderful. Thank you so much.
Sorry if I laugh.
No, I love that. I'm
I've been
trying
dying
so
to
hard.
speak to you about that because it's seriously just because up until that point, comedy, with the exception of what you had been doing, had never hit me in a way that it did because I went to parties where people had to get up and sing a song, and I was with my mum and dad, and they were all, you know, when you had to get up and sing a song, and Sherry Ball, and all of that. It just absolutely stuck in it. Hereford.
What's going to be?
And
Peter Kay said it's why he's a comedian.
I can believe that. I can absolutely. Well, he's
Lovely.
he is brilliant as well. But no, there's only one Billy Connolly. Can I get you to sign my book?
Of course.
That'd be all right.
I need to get a photo of the two of you as well.
Oh yeah.
That was so good.
So how is the forsooth?
Yeah, she's good. Same as ever.
Grant.
She's got her new podcast company now, so she's
busy.
always doing a million things like that.
Yes, it's great.
Oh, it was wonderful. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
That's not a question mark. It's
No.
an exclamation.
Thank you. And we need for social media purposes.
And the BBC Scotland telly channels doing that.
Social media.
Social media, absolutely.
Phone of all things, right? Oh, I'll get one of the pictures.
That's a good picture.
background. And then try and get one that's just the two of you.
I think we did a podcast.
You did with Janice.
Yeah,
Oh,
with
yeah.
Janice.
Yeah, it was really good.
Great.
Could I be awful and ask for a picture?
course.
She's
You want me to take it?
Would that be alright?
Of course.